If you're getting ready to take the CPA exam, one of the biggest questions you might have is what order should I take the exams in? And unfortunately, there's no secret formula where you take it in this order, you're gonna pass super easily. That doesn't exist, unfortunately. But I do think there is a bit of strategy you can use when deciding what order to take your exams in. So I'm just gonna go over my rationale when deciding my exam order, and hopefully it can give you some guidance when you're trying to make the same decision. So the first exam I took was FAR. I did this for a number of reasons, but the main reason was that most people consider FAR to be the hardest exam and it covers the most material. So I was of the mindset, just start at the top, work my way down, get the biggest one out of the way. So that's what I did. That was my main reason for picking FAR first. But like I said, you have to take your life's context into consideration, and that just worked as well for me in terms of I was taking FAR right after I graduated, so I felt like a lot of the topics that I'd be covering in FAR were similar to courses I'd taken in undergrad, so there was some overlap there. Also, like I said, I was taking it right after I graduated, so there was a little bit of time from graduation until I started working where I'd have free time to spend studying, so I was like, if this is the most difficult one, this is probably the one I'll have the most free time to study for. I should take it now. So both of those were reasons that I decided to take FAR. And yeah, I don't regret it. I think it was the right decision for me, but you got to take stock of your life and see what works for you. So next up, I took Audit, and to be honest, it was kind of a toss-up between Reg and Audit for me. I didn't really know which one to take. I kind of saw them as the same. Nothing was really separating them for me. But I made the decision to take Audit next because I thought it would be the second hardest. So like I said, start with FAR and then go to the second hardest. That was my plan. Didn't work out that way. I thought Reg was a lot more difficult, but it didn't really matter. Another reason I took Audit second was because I had an audit class my senior year of college that I thought maybe I'll still remember some of that material, it'll be fresh in my head, and I'll be able to, help me when I'm studying for the exam. So both those reasons were why I took Audit second. But like I said, it was a toss-up between Reg and Audit. I took Reg third, and it didn't really matter. I didn't have the best time. I thought it was kind of difficult. I thought Reg was probably the second most difficult after FAR, significantly more difficult than Audit and BEC. But everyone has their own experience. That was just mine. But like I said, even though I kind of got that order wrong, it didn't make a difference. The orders aren't the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, that was my situation. And ultimately, I took BEC last because, as you might have heard, that's the easy one. Let me just tell you that's not true. There are no easy CPA exams, unfortunately. I thought, I'll start with the hardest, work my way down to the easiest one. And although I'd say BEC is the easiest one, it's not easy. So I do think it was our decision to take last, finish with the easiest one. But you still have to put in a lot of hours studying, pretty much the same amount of hours that you put in for Audit or Reg, you're putting in for BEC. There's still a lot of material, it's still difficult stuff. It's not going to be easy by any means. But that was my rationale for picking it last. I was like, if it's the easiest one, I'll save it for last. And it worked out well because I was starting my full-time job actually, I was already working full-time by the time I was taking BEC. So I was definitely more busy with my outside of studying schedule. So it kind of worked perfectly that the easiest one was taken when I was most busy. So just to recap, I did FAR, Audit, Reg, and then BEC. That was me personally. I kind of explained my rationale, but just to go over it again, I thought FAR, most difficult one, most amount of material covered. It's perfect because I'll study when I have the most amount of time to do it, right after graduation, but before starting work. And some of the material covered in FAR might have also been covered in my undergrad, so a lot of overlap. I just thought it was the perfect one to start with. Audit and Reg, it was a bit of a toss-up. I said I'll go with Audit because it'll probably be the second most difficult, but it wasn't for me. So in retrospect, I would have done Reg second, but like I keep saying, the order isn't that important. You have to pass them all anyway, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And then ultimately I took BEC last because I heard it was the easiest one, which it probably was, but it still is difficult. It's definitely not easy by any means. So that's my rationale for how I took the order of my exams. I would just say if you're considering the order of your exams and you're struggling to figure it out, don't overthink it. Like I said, you have to pass all of them. There's no secret formula. You just have to get through them one way or another. So if you can't, decide which one to take, just pick one. If you can't do that, DM me on Instagram and I'll pick one for you. Like, it's really not that big a deal. But if you are gonna, put some thought into it, just analyze, think about what you have in life going on. Are you gonna be busy with work, with, vacations, like anything going on that maybe, you wanna take an easier one, or are you like, no, this is perfect time for me to, go all in with FAR, like really put a lot of time and effort into it. Just take your life into account and see what you think would be best. But last thing, I'll say it one more time. You have to pass them all. It's not the end of the world if you don't take them in the correct order. There is no correct order. So just start with one of them, and that's the only way you'll ever finish. So, all right, I hope this helped. Thanks for watching.